Right, shalom, shalom. First, I'd like to give all praises unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Waharaka Kodash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and honors to you brothers out there in the highways and the byways, teaching His word in all sincerity and in truth. And you got this situation here with this dude, Omar Fateh, or whatever his name is. He's running for mayor in Minneapolis, right? Now, this dude is an American. According to American ideology, he's an American. All right, because America is not supposed to be a race, right? If you're a citizen, then that makes you American, right? No, because it was all lies, because that's not really what these Edomites believe. The only true American is the Edomite American. Everybody else is just allowed to be there until they're not. And that's how Esau is. But Esau ran around trying to project some false sense of virtue and morality, or I'm a Christian, I love everybody, I accept everybody, which has always been a lie. And here it is, you had this woman saying we need to pass a law that only American born can serve in government. This is getting out of control, because she looks at this individual and she assumes that he's not American. All right, because in her mind, right, an American, the only people who can be 100% American just by looking at them are so-called white people, because they are America's a so-called white country. It belongs to them. They're the owners and the stewards. All right, that's not the ideology that they'll try and portray, because they want to hold some kind of moral high ground, but this is who they are. And then this individual corrected them by saying he's born in the United States, but they don't really care about that, because if you go down in the comments, right, one guy says they need to remove the whole if you're born in America, you get citizenship. All right, which is the only reason why these people are considered American, right? Because who was there before them? The Native American Indians. All these so-called white people, they're immigrants. They immigrated to America. They left their lands where they were in various parts of Europe and went to America and started to call themselves Americans instead of English or French or German. They started calling themselves Americans. That's why they all got different surnames. None of them have American surnames. They have surnames from various European countries. So these people are absolute hypocrites, man, because they are the original illegal immigrant, right? They went over to the Americas, right, and imposed themselves on that land and stole it. All right, man. I don't think he was born on this planet. That's crazy. All right, so let me find the guy who and the whole thing now with Esau Edom in the West is basically painting anyone who's not an Edomite as the enemy, as the problem. You know that Esau Edom is the pioneer. He's the moral one. He's the good one. He's the only competent one, and the rest of the world is just dragging them down and ruining everything. That's the ideology of the Edomite now. They're trying to blame everything that's wrong with the world and going wrong with their society on everyone else, and that's the nature of a devil. Now let me find this bit. Where the Lucy, see, doesn't make him American. So he's not American, even if he's born in America. These people are insane. It says he was born to immigrant parents. All you Edomites are born to immigrant parents. Because at one point, your parents were not dwelling in America. You're all immigrants. This is the hypocrisy, right? To immigrant parents, meaning once we do away with birthright citizenship, infiltrators like him will have to do it the old-fashioned way. What the hell is this guy even talking about? What old-fashioned way did your forefathers do? This is insane. Now, Esau Edom wants to create this notion. This is what they're pushing, that The worst immigrants in the world is basically Jake and the other nations. Like, because we're just irredeemable. We're dumb, stupid, IQ. We're animals. We could never do anything right. We're unintelligent. All this garbage that Esau wants to spew. Even though it's under Esau's guidance that the world is headed into complete judgment, right? But everyone else is the problem, right? When in the actual fact, like the worst people to immigrate to your wherever you are in your land is the Edomites historically, because they will come to your lands and they will kill, rob, and steal. They are the number. They're the if there's anyone you do not want to cross the border and come into your land for any reason whatsoever, it's the Edomites, and this historically proven. Just ask the tribe of Gad. Just ask the whole of the northern kingdom in South America. Just ask the whole of Africa. Just ask the Australian Aborigines. This is the hypocrisy of Esau Edom, right? Ezekiel 7:24 says, "Wherefore I bring the worst of the heathen." Do you know who the worst heathen is on the planet? Esau Edom. And this is the hypocrisy of it. He's pointing the finger at everyone else. Everyone else is the rapist. Everyone else is the murderer. Everyone else is low IQ. Everyone else is the savage. When it's actually him. And like I always say, yeah, what happens with Esau Edom is they love to highlight whenever Jake or another nation does something, and they ignore when their own people are doing the exact same thing. Like there's a video that came out in the UK of some white woman somewhere, and some drunk, could have been a Jake, could have been Ham or whatever, some drunk so-called black person came up to her and was talking to her or whatever, like, and they're like, oh, she's being harassed and these people, they're this, that, and the other. Bro, like, Esau's undisputed for having drunks just walking up and down the street harassing people. That happens, like, you could go to any town in England and there's a drunk Edomite down bad that just does that. Do you know what I'm saying? But they'll ignore that. But then if someone who's got melanin in their skin does it, then it's a blanket the whole people and everyone's like that, and they're the issue, they're the problem. He's a demon, man. All he does is flatter himself in his own eyes. He's the perfect one. He's the righteous one. He's the good one, and everyone else is bad. That's why I like the Black Tucker Carlson on Twitter, because all he does is just post videos of Edomite man and Edomite woman doing madness. Because no one spotlight when these Edomites are doing madness. They only spotlight when Jake is doing it, or if the nigger woman has fights in the street. Oh, see, it's the black woman. But when the white woman has a fight in the street, oh, nothing to see here. White women are always fighting. You could go out in England and any flipping Friday night and there'll be white women out there drunk as hell fighting each other. But no one will attribute that to their race. It's okay when these white lads are out there fighting and getting drunk and vomiting everywhere and doing all kind of madness. Oh, it's just Jack the lad. It's just Jack the lad. But let a so-called black man do that. Oh, they're criminals. They're just they need to leave. Fuck out of here, man. You damn devils, man. You Edomites are known. It's known, right? Like beginning with the Edomite in England, that other countries don't like when they come there for tourism, because yeah, they bring the money, but they also bring drugs, drinking, alcohol, and debauchery in the streets non-stop. It's a fact. Look it up. The Spanish, the Italian, all of them complain about the Edomite from England and how they just go crazy when they're on holiday. But it's the immigrants in it, like, fucking devils, man. Anyway, wherefore I bring the worst of the heathen. That's what happened to our brothers, man, from Gad on down, that were living in the Americas. The worst possible people that the Lord could have sent upon them shores came, and that was Esau Edom. And they shall possess their houses, and I will make the pomp of the strong to cease, and their holy places shall be defiled. Destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none. And that's what happens with our brothers from the northern kingdom that were dwelling amongst themselves in South America. Once Esau was sent over them, Esau became a destruction unto them. And even though they tried to make peace with Esau at different points, Esau didn't want to hear that, because Esau, he ain't about peace. He's about his bag being inflated, and he gonna do whatever it takes to do that. the true savage, the worst immigrant you will ever find. All right, right. Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And that's who you Edomites are. That's who you Edomites are. You're the wicked, trying to blame everybody else. Everyone else is the wicked but you. No, you're the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judge thereof. If not, where and who is he? Right? You got to be kidding me. Now I went into Chat GTP, so you just get to learn a little bit of history about how these Edomites migrated. They're immigrants. They migrated over to the Americas, man, and then just started calling themselves Americans. Right? This is a joke, right? It says the early colonial period from 1600 to 1775. The main sources was England, Scotland, Ireland, Germany, Netherlands, and France. Now, none of these people will call themselves English now, or Scottish, or Irish, or German, or Dutch, or French. They all call themselves Americans. But this individual here, because of the way he looks, he's not allowed to be American. Oh, he's not a real American. He's not a real American. He's not a. But you are. Yeah, boy. That's why the Lord's gonna destroy America, man, with you in it. All right, all right. And then it lists, the different main migrations, man. The Dutch settled to New Netherland, later known as New York. All right, you had Germans, French. Then you got the pre-revolutionary period, the 1700s. You had more Scots coming over for various, and it goes into the various reasons they were coming over. Different things were happening. Some of them were fleeing war, some of them were fleeing poverty. So they would make the trip over to the Americas, right? And then change them and transform themselves into Americans. But no one else can do that now. The Mexicans can't do that. The people from down in south, they're not allowed to do that now because they're not real Americans. But these people could do it. Oh, okay. Right? German, right? The American revolutions begin shifting identity from British colonists to Americans, right? So they start calling themselves Americans, right? The 19th century mass migration era from the 18th onto 1914. It says main sources Ireland, Germany, Scandinavia, right? So these are Nordic people. So Italy, Eastern Europe, and that's why you find many Americans that have these surnames, but they still call themselves American. They consider themselves Americans, right? Right? Yeah, they got the potato famine. So this was good, right? Even post World War II, right? Refugees from Europe, right? And then when they went over there, they didn't keep their identity. They call themselves American now, right? More ethnic white Americans, Polish, Greek, Ukrainian, are fully integrated by the 1950s. So you got a whole bunch of people that were originally from Poland, originally from Greece, originally from Ukraine. They just call themselves Americans now, and they're accepted as Americans because guess what? They're Edomites. They look like Edomites. And it's the same thing in England. It's the same thing in France and Germany. They don't have a problem with other Edomites. Who they really have a problem with is Jake and the other nations, man. But that's all right. That's all right because that's just how it is. But don't start putting up this fake I'm a Christian, this fake morality about how you love everybody and everybody's equal and all this crap. Because it's not true. You're a hateful bunch of demons. All right. Even down to look, the 1980s. You got people from Eastern Europe, the former Soviet Union, Western Europe, Russians even. Right? So here you go, so-called ethnic groups, right? English, Irish, German, Italian, Polish, and it gives you the time that they went over there. And all these people, it's okay for them to call themselves American. You know what I'm saying? But it's okay. You know what? Listen, let these devils be the devil. Let them be hypocrites. Let them be hate-filled demons. Let them be America. Let them have America. Let them have England. Let them have everything. Because it's not going to change their fate. Because what they truly are, beyond being American and all these different things, what they truly are the Edomites that the Bible speak of. And what they don't understand is, regardless of how they want to see themselves or proclaim themselves in the world, whether they think they're the righteous and good people and blah, 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 whether they want to call themselves white and all this foolishness. All of that, when it's all said and done, the judgment of the Heavenly Father is they are going into perdition. They're going into judgment. And ultimately, they're going to be dispossessed and rooted out of the earth forever. And thus saith the Lord. So let them have it, man. This is their time, right? Let them have their pride. Let them do their foolishness. Let them spew their hate, because their time is almost up. And the Lord ain't adding a minute onto their time. And once their time is up, there's nothing, none of their lies, none of their pride is going to deliver them from the judgment which is at hand. Right? Obadiah 1 and 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau a stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord have spoken it. And then we ain't going to be having no debate about immigration, because you ain't even going to be here. You're going to be gone. Damn devils. Shalom.